Welcome back to Narrator Stories Recaps. Today, we're diving into Perfect Days, 2023, a visually stunning and emotionally profound film that takes us on an unforgettable journey through the life of a Tokyo toilet cleaner, Hirayama. Directed by Wim Wenders, this movie beautifully captures the poetry in life's small, everyday moments. But before we jump into the full explanation, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay updated on all our latest movie breakdowns and deep dives. Ready? Let's explore the world of Perfect Days together. The story begins with some sanitation workers cleaning the road, and our protagonist, Hirayama, hears the noise and wakes up. He folds his bed sheets, brushes his teeth, shaves, and waters the plants in his home with great care. After changing into his work clothes, he grabs a coffee from a vending machine and happily heads to work, listening to music along the way. Hirayama is very passionate about his job, which involves cleaning bathrooms. He performs his duties without any sense of inferiority, meticulously ensuring every bathroom is spotless. Even if someone walks in while he's working, he patiently waits for them to finish before resuming his cleaning. On the other hand, his assistant is quite the opposite. He often arrives late, makes excuses, and isn't very attentive to his work. Hirayama, however, never complains or talks back to anyone. One day, while Hirayama is inspecting a restroom, he finds a boy sleeping on the floor. It seems the boy has been separated from his mother. Hirayama takes the boy by the hand and brings him out. The boy's mother, who had been searching for him, sees Hirayama holding her son's hand and rushes over. She immediately pulls the boy away, cleans his hands with sanitizer, and leaves without thanking Hirayama. Despite this, Hirayama remains calm and waves goodbye to the boy with a smile. Later, Hirayama goes to a park for lunch. He has a habit of taking pictures of a particular tree in the park every year. That day, he notices a small plant uprooted near the tree. He carefully collects it, takes it home, and replants it safely. After finishing his work for the day, Hirayama transitions into his personal routine. He takes his bicycle and explores the town, stopping to bathe in a favorite public bathhouse. Afterward, he visits his favorite restaurant, enjoys his meal, and spends time with a few friends, watching a match together. He then heads home, reads a book, and peacefully goes to sleep. The next morning, the routine starts again. Hirayama wakes up to the sound of sanitation workers cleaning the road, folds his bed sheets, brushes his teeth, shaves, grabs coffee, and heads to work. Happily while working, Hirayama encounters a mentally ill man dancing around in the restroom. He patiently continues his cleaning without reacting. Meanwhile, his assistant asks for half a day off, saying his girlfriend has come to visit. Hirayama agrees. The assistant's girlfriend arrives, but their vehicle doesn't start. The assistant asks Hirayama to lend them his car, but Hirayama hesitates to trust them with it. Instead, he drives the couple himself. During the journey, the assistant's girlfriend notices Hirayama's old collection of cassette tapes. Fascinated by them, she asks him about the tapes. She secretly takes one without Hirayama realizing it. Later, the assistant convinces Hirayama to visit a store that buys old cassette tapes. When they show one of Hirayama's tapes, the store offers $120 for a single cassette, as the songs on it are rare and unavailable on platforms like Spotify. The assistant becomes excited about the potential money they could make. Hirayama, however, remains calm and unbothered by the prospect. Let me sell just one cassette. I told my girlfriend that I'm taking her out, but I don't have any money at all. One cassette would be enough to get me some cash, Hirayama thinks. However, he couldn't bring himself to sell the cassette. Instead, he told himself, "It's okay, keep the money," and went on happily. He handed over all the money he had to his assistant. Overjoyed, the assistant hugged Hirayama tightly and left. Hirayama, happy and listening to music, headed back home. However, his car ran out of fuel on the way. With no money even for petrol, he sold one of his cassettes and used the cash to fill up the tank. Finally, he made it home. Like always, he read a book and went to sleep. Yet, that night, he kept having strange recurring dreams. The next morning, he woke up to the sound of someone sweeping the streets as usual. He gets ready to head to work. He cleans up perfectly in the bathroom before leaving. While doing so, he comes across a piece of paper. It looks like someone has played the game tic-tac-toe, but it's incomplete. Someone has already marked an O in one of the boxes. Seeing this, Hirayama picks up the paper and keeps it with him. At some point, he sits in the park and takes photos of a tree. Nearby, a girl is watching him. When he notices her, she looks scared, as though she's avoiding his gaze. Hirayama then takes out the piece of paper and marks an X in one of the boxes. After that, he leaves the paper there and walks away. Later, he casually tosses garbage into a bin, reads a book, and goes to sleep as usual. But tonight, he has another strange dream as usual. He wakes up early in the morning, drinks coffee from the vending machine, listens to music happily, and heads to work. When he arrives, he notices his assistant has shown up earlier than usual. The assistant thanks him and gets busy with work. Meanwhile, the assistant's friend visits, a boy who seems mentally unstable. The assistant tells Hirayama, "This is my best friend. He really loves my ears." Both of them laugh and chat while Hirayama watches them happily. Later, while cleaning the bathroom, Hirayama looks at the spot where he left the paper. This time, he notices someone else has marked an O on it. Smiling, he adds an X in his turn. Then, he goes back to the park where he sees his assistant's girlfriend sitting there. She notices him and confesses, "I stole your cassette and ran away." The girl apologizes to Hirayama, saying, "Please forgive me for what I did," and asks if she can listen to the song from the cassette just once. Hirayama takes her to his car and plays the song for her. However, something unexpected happens. The girl suddenly kisses him, then runs away. Hirayama is left utterly confused. He places the cassette into a box and starts thinking about everything that happened that day. As usual, he reads a book before going to sleep. The next morning, Hirayama wakes up and realizes he has the day off. With no work to do, he gathers all his dirty laundry and takes it to the laundromat. Afterward, he visits a photo shop to have his film developed into photographs. Returning home, he starts cleaning his house and carefully stores all the developed photos in a box. It's then that he notices something. For years, he has been taking pictures of the same tree, and now, all those photos are neatly stored in that box. Later, Hirayama takes his bicycle out and rides around town for a while. He stops by a second-hand bookstore, where he buys a few books. Afterward, he heads to a restaurant he likes, owned by a woman he secretly has a crush on. Though Hirayama is usually a quiet man who avoids conversation, he spends hours sitting with the owner, laughing and chatting. She is warm and friendly, often singing songs for her customers. Hirayama listens to her sing with a joyful expression, savoring the moment as he usually does. The next day, Hirayama prepares for work. He looks at the place where the paper is kept and notices that today, too, an O has been added. He marks his X and leaves the paper there. He then heads to the park, where he sees the same girl watching him again. Hirayama waves and says, "Hi," and the girl replies with a hi as well. They exchange pleasantries, and Hirayama continues with his usual routine, cleaning the bathroom, eating at his favorite restaurant, and heading home. At home, he is surprised to see a little girl who looks at him and asks, "Uncle, where did you go?" Hirayama is puzzled. The girl continues, "I'm your Sakura, your sister's daughter. Don't you remember?" Hirayama is stunned but overjoyed to see her. He lets her stay at his house, and they spend time together. The next morning, Hirayama wakes up quietly, careful not to disturb her, and waters the plants. As he gets ready to leave for work, Sakura wakes up and asks, "Where are you going?" He replies, "I'm heading to work." She insists on coming along, saying, "I'll help you." Hirayama takes her along in the car, and they set off for his workplace. During the journey, Hirayama tries to play an old song. Sakura likes it, but she tells him, "Uncle, these songs aren't on Spotify." Poor Hirayama doesn't even know much about Spotify. While he cleans the bathroom, Sakura sits outside, watching him. She seems to feel sorry for her uncle but doesn't know what to say. After Hirayama finishes work, they go to the park together. While Hirayama tries to take photos, Sakura uses her camera to take pictures instead. Hirayama notices and asks, "Where did you get this camera?" She replies, "Uncle, you gave me this camera when I was little. Have you forgotten?" Hirayama feels immense joy, realizing that she has taken such good care of the camera he had given her as a child. That night, as usual, Hirayama reads a book before going to bed, but he has another strange dream. The next morning, he wakes up to find Sakura already awake and reading a book. She says, "Uncle, I really like this book. Is there another character in it who's like me?" Hirayama smiles and gets ready for work. This time, Sakura insists on helping him with his work. Hirayama teaches her how to clean the toilet properly, and they clean together. After work, they visit the park again. While they sit, Sakura asks, "Uncle, why don't you talk to Mom? Even if I mention you, she immediately changes the topic. Why don't you both speak to each other?" Hirayama only smiles in response. Later, Hirayama asks, "Why did you run away from home? Did you have a fight with your mom?" Sakura admits, "Yes, we argued. This is my first time doing something like this, but I've always wanted to come here to see you." Hirayama smiles warmly, and they begin exploring the town together as they ride bicycles. She points to a spot and asks, "Can we go there?" Hirayama responds, "Maybe next time." She then asks, "Can we go tomorrow, at least?" Now, Hirayama.
今度は今度。今は今。
今度は今度。今は今。
Hirayama and his Sakura return home, only to find his sister standing at the doorstep. Hirayama immediately tells her to go inside and take care of her things while he goes to speak with his sister. After all these years, Hirayama and his sister meet again. She hands him his favorite chocolate, and Hirayama says, "You've raised your daughter so well, she's such a good girl." His sister, however, breaks down and says, "Brother, ever since I fought with Dad, everything has changed. Dad couldn't recognize me. He doesn't even remember me. You should come see Dad at least once." Both of them cry uncontrollably, reliving their pain. After their emotional reunion, his sister leaves with her daughter, and Hirayama is left weeping, overwhelmed with memories. That night, he has another strange dream. Just like before, the next morning, Hirayama goes to work as usual, but his assistant calls him to inform him, "I won't be coming to work anymore. Thank you for everything you've done for me." Hirayama is confused and saddened by the sudden resignation. Without his assistant, Hirayama has to work double shifts, tirelessly cleaning bathrooms. One day, his assistant's friend visits and asks about him. Hirayama explains that he's no longer working there, leaving the friend visibly upset after completing his shifts. Hirayama calls his company and tells them, "You need to assign someone else to this job. I can't work double shifts anymore." He heads home, completely exhausted, reads his book, and falls asleep the next day. Hirayama wakes up, drinks his coffee, listens to his favorite songs, and goes to work. A new girl has been assigned to the company. While cleaning a bathroom, he notices the paper with the XO game. The game has ended, but there's no indication of who played it with him. The person has left a thank you note, expressing their gratitude. Hirayama carefully keeps the note and feels a deep sense of happiness. He finishes his work, heads home, reads his book, and sleeps. Yet again, he dreams the same strange dream on his day off. Hirayama washes his clothes, develops his film into photos, and carefully stores them in his box. He takes his bicycle and rides around town, stopping at a second-hand bookshop to buy some books. He decides to visit the woman he likes at her store, but when he gets there, the store is closed. He waits outside for some time. After a while, he sees the woman entering the store with another man. Curious, Hirayama goes inside and sees the two of them hugging. Heartbroken, he leaves, takes his bicycle, and goes to the supermarket to buy beer and cigarettes. He starts drinking and smoking in a public park when, suddenly, the man he saw at the store appears next to Hirayama and starts a conversation. He asks, "Are you the one who always visits her shop?" Hirayama replies, "Yes, I've been coming here since the day the shop opened." The man then reveals, "I'm her ex-husband. We've been divorced for 7 years. I haven't seen her since the divorce, but I came back because I have cancer and don't have much time left. I've done a lot of wrong to her, and I came here to apologize and thank her for everything she did for me. There's nothing between us anymore." Hirayama listens silently, and the two of them continue talking over drinks. During their conversation, the man notices a dark shadow on the wall and says, "Doesn't that shadow seem darker to you?" Hirayama dismisses it, but the man insists on testing it with his flashlight. To their surprise, the shadow does appear darker. Hirayama reluctantly agrees, and they both laugh it off. Hirayama returns home, reads his book, and falls asleep. The next day, he resumes his usual routine, and thus concludes the story of Perfect Days. This film beautifully portrays Hirayama's quiet, solitary life and the subtle, profound changes he experiences. Thank you for watching our breakdown of Perfect Days 2023. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to Narrator Stories Recaps and click the bell icon so you never miss our latest movie recaps. Check out these other videos you love. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.